I'm David Lombardino, Editor-in-Chief of DLA Editors and Proofers, here to talk to you about how to write an outstanding personal statement. Today, I want to talk to you specifically about how to conclude a personal statement or what to write for a conclusion. And this is a question that comes up a lot of times for our clients. They get to the point where they understand the first part of their personal statement and the body really well. They understand where their interest has come from, they've developed it, they understand everything really well up to today and are really great in that part of their personal statement. And then now they're at the conclusion and they don't know what to do. And so I'm going to talk to you about two aspects of the conclusion. I want to talk to you about what not to do in a conclusion, and then of course what to do in a conclusion. And I'm going to be providing a model to follow that's going to be successful for you no matter your circumstances, no matter the program that you're applying for. And so first, what not to do in a conclusion. Do not start your conclusion with "in conclusion" or "in summary" or anything like that. Any words that suggest that it's actually the conclusion or a summary. The reason? We already know that this is the conclusion. You don't need to tell us. And so don't say it. Secondly, in your conclusion, do not present any new unsupported concepts. Do not talk about anything that does not come from what's preceded the conclusion in the personal statement. This is not a place to suddenly bring in a whole new idea. Third is that you want to be as specific as possible in the conclusion, and so avoid being generic or vague in the conclusion. Okay, this is not a place to suddenly lose focus after a really great first 3 or 4 paragraphs and then all of a sudden you don't know what to do in your conclusion. And so what to do in the conclusion is be as specific as possible. And so I'm going to provide you now a formula or a model that you can follow for how to do that in your conclusion. First thing that you want to do in your conclusion, and this is not necessarily in any particular order, depending on your style or your approach, you can change the order of these items around, but I'm presenting the order in this manner not for how you actually write it in a conclusion, although you could write it in this way, but more to help guide your thinking as a logical progression for what to write in a personal statement. And so the first item is your medium and long-term goals. So medium-term goals, that's what I consider to be the first, say, 2 or 3 years, first few years following the conclusion of whatever program you're applying for. So you assume that you get in, you assume that you successfully complete the program. What is it that you're going to be looking to accomplish those first 2 or 3 years afterward? So for example, if you're applying for residency right now, after residency you may be applying for fellowship. That would be a medium-term goal. Long-term goal is where do you see yourself 10, 15, maybe 20 years down the road in your career following the successful completion of the program you're applying for. So that provides a broader perspective of where you see yourself headed. Then I want you to think about the program that you're applying for. Think about what are the steps that you need to accomplish between today and completing the program that are going to set yourself up well for completing those medium and long-term goals. For example, if you want to apply for a fellowship, then in cardiology, for example, and you're applying now for internal medicine, then you want to talk about perhaps certain characteristics of the internal medicine program that you're applying for that would be well suited for preparing somebody to be a great candidate for a cardiology fellowship. It could be anything. But think about what your medium and long-term goals are. Work backward from there to think about what you want to accomplish and what specific characteristics you need from a program to accomplish those medium and long-term goals. Then state specifically what those are. Now, you can do this in one of 2 ways. Let's say, for example, that you're applying specifically for one institution. You want to be as specific as possible about that institution and what it can do for you to prepare you to accomplish those goals. So you want to be talking about specific courses that are offered at that institution, or other programs or offerings or opportunities that they have. You want to talk about any relevant research that they're doing or professors who are there. So you want to be as specific as possible about that institution and how it plays a role, how it would play a role in preparing you to accomplish your medium and long-term goals. On the other hand, you may not be applying to one specific institution. You may be applying to a group of institutions. I mentioned residency earlier. You could be applying for internal medicine programs. You could be applying for internal medicine programs in California. So when you're at this point in your conclusion, what you want to do is you want to be as specific as possible what you're looking for in a program, what characteristics are going to prepare you for whatever your next step is, whether it's fellowship in cardiology or anything else. Maybe you're going to go and be an internist as a primary care physician. That's fine too. Whatever your goals are, think about the specific characteristics that are common among the programs that you're applying for. So don't be too specific that you actually eliminate some of the programs that you're actually applying for. Say you want to go into cardiology and certain of those programs are terrible for preparing candidates for cardiology. Then you either don't want to apply to those programs or you don't want to mention that with such enthusiasm or give it such pride of place in your conclusion. But at the same time, you don't want to be overly broad to where the characteristics that you're looking for are not directly tied to your medium and long-term goals, directly tied to your personal statement, directly tied to your candidature, and directly tied to the list of programs that you're applying for. In other words, you don't want to be applying for programs only in California and say in your conclusion that you're open to being in a program anywhere in the United States. No. If you have a geographic restriction, then talk about that in your conclusion. Why California? Why is that important to you? And so be specific and make it clear the characteristics you're looking for. And in doing so, also talk about what do you want to accomplish as your short-term goals meaning while you're in the program. What do you want to accomplish? What areas, where do you see yourself wanting to grow? What do you want to learn? What do you want to accomplish during your time in their program? And so when you're doing that, you're going to implicitly be demonstrating your characteristics and what you bring to their program. And that's it. Once you've done that, you're done. And of course, like I said, that's a formula to use, that's a model to use. Generally speaking, that's going to work well for just about anybody writing their personal statement. You can make a few modifications to it that are better suited for your particular story or your particular narrative. But if you follow that model, you should have a great conclusion to your personal statement. We offer a full range of services for personal statements and love to help you with yours. We can help you with proofreading, revision and critique, or consultation. Come check us out at www.dlaeditors.com.